If you're aiming for 210 in C1 Advanced Speaking, then this live is for you because I'm going to give you 3 speaking strategies that work in every part of the exam. Now, most students believe that to get 210, you need super advanced vocabulary and long answers. But the truth is, 210 is more about habits than big words. Because if you use English you don't control, then you actually lose points. So today, I'll show you 3 strategies with real examples for part 1, 3, and part 4, and then we'll do a short live Q&A. Now, these are the same habits I train in C1 students who want higher marks, who want clear structure, real interaction, and natural answers. Guys, hi, I'm Izzy from English with Izzy, and I'm your Cambridge C1 Advanced Exam Preparation teacher. Now, if you want more videos like this, please subscribe and like the video. And here are some questions that I'd love for you to answer in the chat. What's your speaking goal? Do you want 180, 190? Maybe you're aiming for 210, which is top marks in the speaking test. And also, which part is hardest? Part 1, part 2, part 3, or part 4? And one more, what do you struggle with most? Ideas, vocabulary, or confidence? Now drop it in the chat and I'll read a few in a second. All right, guys, let's go. Okay, now the first tip is that being natural is more important than being advanced. Yes, learn advanced English at home, but the exam is not the time to try out new words that you don't really know. Why? Because when you force fancy words, then one of these happens. Either you use the wrong word and the examiner notices, maybe you slow down, you pause a lot and lose fluency, and you stop sounding like a real person and your tone becomes unnatural. Now, what examiners love is clear meaning and confident answers. So let's have a look at an example. A question in speaking part 1 might be, do you like traveling? Now, a natural C answer would be, yes, I absolutely love it. I don't need anything fancy. I just like being somewhere different. Even a short weekend getaway makes me feel refreshed. Now, that's not fancy, but it's fluent and personal. Now, here's a common mistake. Students try to sound advanced and they end up unclear. So here's an example of a bad answer. I'm immensely fascinated by the cultural diversity of foreign territories. Now, it sounds unnatural and it's risky, so here's a better answer. I love traveling because I get to see how people live in different places. Now, here's a second example for speaking part 1. The examiner could ask you, do you enjoy reading? You might say something like, yeah, I do. I go through phrases, but when I find a good book, I can't put it down. I usually read before bed because it helps me unwind. Now, that idiom, can't put it down, is natural, controlled, and perfect, to be honest. Now, here's an example for speaking part 4. Should people spend less time on social media? A natural C1 answer would be probably yes. I don't think it's all bad, but it's a time trap. You go on for 2 minutes and suddenly it's an hour. I've started putting my phone in another room when I need to focus. Now, this is strong because it's balanced. You're not extreme and you sound mature. Now, here's another part 4 example. The question is it easy to have a healthy lifestyle today? Now, a really good and natural C1 answer would be, I think it depends. It's easier to find information now, but it's also harder because we're all busy. For example, people know what healthy looks like, but they end up grabbing fast food because they're exhausted. Now notice, simple words and a clear meaning. So sounding natural is step 1, but natural alone isn't enough because you'll still need a shape. You'll need a shape for your answers, and so the examiner will be able to reward you. Now, this is the best strategy, and I talk about it all the time, PEGEX. It means point, example, explanation. If you do this, you instantly sound more organized and your answers feel complete. So here's the key rule. Every opinion must be supported. One reason, one example. That's it. Now, here's a part 1 example that uses the PEGEX formula. A question could be, do you enjoy cooking? Your point could be, yes, I do. It helps me switch off after a busy day. For example, on weekends, I tend to make a quick stir fry. Oh, well, I made a mistake. On weekdays, I tend to make a quick stir fry, and at the weekend, I love trying something new. Now, let's do another speaking part 1 answer, because this is where people really tend to answer too fast. Do you like learning languages? You could say, yes, I really do. I like the feeling of making progress and understanding more. For instance, when I watch a series and suddenly I understand a joke, it feels amazing. Now, part 3, because this is where PEGEX saves you from rambling, from speaking non-stop. Let's say this is your speaking part 3 question. Talk to each other about how useful each idea would be. Improving public transport, creating better study spaces, providing cheaper student food, offering more student events, and improving sports facilities. All right, now an example answer would be, improving public transport could be really useful. It would make student life easier day to day, especially for people who live far from campus. For example, if buses were more frequent or ran later in the evening, students could get to early classes or late study sessions without relying on cars or expensive taxis. You could also say, creating better study spaces would also be very useful. A lot of students struggle to focus at home, so having quiet places to work can really improve productivity. For instance, if the library had more silent rooms or bookable spaces for group work, students could revise without distractions and work more efficiently. Now, part 4 is where you need longer development. So look at this question. Do you think schools should teach life skills? You could say, yes, I think they should, because students leave school without knowing basic things. A lot of adults learn these skills too late. For example, many people don't know how to budget or cook simple meals until they move out. Now, that's a full, strong answer. Now, one more thing that helps with PEGEX is using very simple linking phrases. So use these to sound smooth. To be honest, in my view, that's mainly because, for example, and as a result. Now, can you think of any more phrases like these? If you can, write them out in the chat because I'm seeing what you guys are writing. And a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this live, please subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Okay, so now you can't sound natural and structured, but there's one more thing that can quietly boost your score, especially in part 3, and it's how you work with your partner. So tip number 3 is interact properly with your partner, because part 3 is a teamwork task. The goal is, oh, I got a bit excited. The goal is balance. Don't dominate, don't disappear, don't cut them off, and don't ramble, don't keep speaking. So here's the simple method. Make your PEGEX point and then pass the ball. So you could say something like, improving public transport could be really useful because it benefits a wide range of people, including students. For example, if buses were more frequent and ran later, it would be easier to get to early classes or evening activities, and it could also reduce traffic. What's your view on how useful that would be for students? That one line shows cooperation. But you can also build on what your partner says, and that sounds very C1. Now, here's an example of building. Yeah, exactly. And building on what you said, you could also help students who live further away or have part-time jobs because they wouldn't need to rely on lifts or expensive taxis. For instance, if the last bus was at midnight instead of 10 p.m., they could stay for a late study session and still get home easily. Or you could gently disagree in a polite way, and you might say something like, I see what you mean, but I'm not sure it would make the biggest difference for most students, especially if many already live nearby. Maybe improving study spaces would be more useful day to day. What do you think? Now, these phrases make you sound like a confident communicator. Now, here are a few pass the ball phrases. What's your take? How do you see it? Shall we consider the next option? Do you want to start and I'll add to it? So, are we leaning towards? And if you want a full list of practice, I have a free PDF with 90 C1 speaking test phrases. It's super helpful because you can practice them at home and then use them naturally. Now, the link is on the screen in the corner and also in the description below. All right, we've got 3 strategies done, so let's lock them in quickly so you leave this live knowing exactly what to practice. All right, let's recap what you learned today. If you want 210 in speaking, which is top marks in the C1 speaking test, be natural, use English you control, use PEGEX, so opinion, example, explanation, and interact well. Make your point and then pass the ball. So here's your practice plan for this week. You want to pick 10 common Part 1 questions and answer each one with PEGEX in about 20 seconds. And then record yourself and listen to your answer. Check. Did I give a clear point? Did I support it? Did I give an example? And if you do that, your speaking will improve fast. Now, if you want a full step-by-step system for C1 Advanced, join my waitlist because this new C1 course I'm creating is my mission. I want it to be the most successful C1 Advanced course in the world, and it's really looking excellent so far. And the link is in the corner at the top, and I'm also going to add it in the description below. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me live, and if this video helped you, please leave a comment telling me what you learned in this video. And also tell me what you want next. Do you want a speaking part 2 video, more part 3, common part 4 topics? I'm all ears. Anyway, guys, good luck. You've got this.